Well, good evening. Glad you're here. We are going to have a wonderful evening tonight. We're going to be looking at some videos. We're going to be looking at several clips tonight. The title of our show tonight is With the Democrats, Black Democrats Sit It Out. Black voters may sit out November. And, you know, I thought after the primary that would be kind of easing some, but it's not. And by the way, I'm Dorothy Burton. Welcome, where we look at politics through the lens of leadership. We do talk about politics, but we talk about it in a very different way. We try to analyze it really real, so through the lens of leadership and not partisanship. But tonight we are going to be partisan because we're going to be talking about the Democrats. Now, y'all know that before the primary, back in the summer, fall, when we talked about this upcoming primary and what to look out for. And I don't think a lot of people were paying attention. But what I want to do tonight is I hope that the Democratic Party in Texas would pay attention, because the people that you're going to see on these clips, they're real people, and they bring some legitimate issues to the table. And I think once you look at them, you'll see a common theme. And we're going to come back and talk about what we have seen and what we have heard, and if the Texas Democratic Party and now the leaders thereof, Gina Hinojosa and Talarico, they would be wise to hear what these people have to say, because they represent a large swath of the Democratic Party in Dallas, in Texas. Okay, so we're going to be looking at some videos, some clips, and get your popcorn. And hi, Susie, I'm glad you're here. Hi, Renee, I'm so glad you're here. Y'all get your popcorn, and we're going to enjoy these clips together. You know what? It didn't take long to put these together, and they're from across the spectrum. So they're not in any particular order. We're just going to look at them, and we're going to come back and talk about what we see.
The talking point that has become the calling card of white leftists, saying that this is not a left versus right, but a top to bottom fight. In theory, that sounds fine, but the black leftist movement is very different than the white leftist movement. Our priorities are different. I went through James Talarico's issues page on his campaign website, and I encourage you as well. All of the policy proposals are milquetoast, standard 2020s era, very tame. At this point, it's going to come down to vibes. And the thing that is required to advance Talarico beyond where Beto O'Rourke has been is his connection with the black communities on either side of I-45. 2 days a week in Harris County, 2 days a week in Dallas County, 1 day in Tarrant County, then fill the gaps in East Texas, San Antonio, Austin, El Paso. 80% of the campaign photos for the next 8 months need to have a black face in it. Although James Talarico was able to secure the Jasmine Crockett endorsement, he will need to fight like hell to retain her voters. He will absolutely need them. If black voter turnout for him in those Democratic major city strongholds wavers, he has no chance. Black turnout, black turnout, black turnout. Can James Talarico get black Texans to rally around him for November? If the primary race is any indicator, the answer is no. He ceded that voting block to Jasmine Crockett willfully. I don't even like Colin Allred, but Talarico made some slick comments about him to another black political operative. The vibes are not vibing. Two simple items for me that signal an uphill climb. He leans very heavily into his faith. In the past, that was definitely a winning strategy, if not a neutral stance to have. But in an environment where more younger Black people are deconstructing and less involved in the church, this may be a net negative. My own mother admitted to getting duped into the first George W. campaign due to the faith issue, since recognizing the error in her ways. The second is the talking point that has become the calling card of white leftists, saying that this is not a left versus right, but a top to bottom fight. In theory, that sounds fine, but the black leftist movement is very different than the white leftist movement. Our priorities are different. I went through James Talarico's issues page on his campaign website, and I encourage you as well. All of the policy proposals are milk toast, standard 2020s era, very tame. At this point, it's going to come down to vibes. And the thing that is required to advance Talarico beyond where Beto O'Rourke has been is his connection with the Black communities on either side of I-45. 2 days a week in Harris County, 2 days a week in Dallas County, 1 day in Tarrant County, then fill the gaps in East Texas, San Antonio, Austin, El Paso. 80% of the campaign photos for the next 8 months need to have a black face in it. Although James Talarico was able to secure the Jasmine Crockett endorsement, he will need to fight like hell to retain her voters. He will absolutely need them. If black voter turnout for him in those Democratic major city strongholds wavers, he has no chance. Black turnout, black turnout, black turnout.
Okay, I wanted to play his twice because I wanted you to hear. I don't know if you picked up on what he said, but at the very beginning, he said the black leftist issues are not white leftist issues. And then he commenced to explain what he meant by that. And as I said, I'm going to be showing some various clips from various groups to hopefully get a head start for the Democratic Party, for them to start paying attention to these, because these are representative of a lot of them that are out there. I tried to choose what I thought was more representative, but if the Democratic Party was wise, they would pay attention to these because they are very real and they represent very real issues. And sometimes it's easier for people like me, who's like independent, who, I hang out with a lot of people. And sometimes when we're close to it, like being in the Democratic Party and being in there, we don't see what other people see. So I hope that this will help them see and hear some of the issues, some of the real issues that are out there. Let's take a look at another one, and we'll be back.
Like what I'm about to say, but I don't care. After seeing that more than 25% of Latinos voted for James Talarico over Jasmine Crockett, really put an itch in my stomach. They only voted for James Talarico because he was a white Christian. Not that he was a better candidate, because he was a white Christian. I'm tired of these Latinos fucking us. So I'm gonna advise all the Texas black people to fucking sit out the midterms and let them figure it out. We keep getting screwed. Our black women are keep getting screwed. It was Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, now Jasmine Crockett. So I thought about it overnight. I will not be supporting James Talarico at all. And you left this who put that propaganda on Jasmine Crockett, we're about to do the same to y'all. This is our protest vote, y'all. So I advise, or I beg the people who follow me that's from Texas, don't get out and vote for James Talarico. We got, at some point in time, y'all, We got to say fuck this and have our own protest vote. This is our protest vote to let the Democratic base know that we just ain't finna just be electing white Christians because they're white Christians and not the better candidate. So I don't care who don't like this video, because I'm not embedded with no Democrat at all. I don't get no money from them at all. But if you're in Texas, you're a black voter, do not vote in the fucking midterms, y'all. We need to send a message to these motherfuckers that we're more powerful than they think. Now they're gonna try to use us to get us out to vote in Texas for James Talarico. I'm not one of it. I thought about it overnight. I'm not supporting this dude. I'm not supporting any Latino candidate because they keep fucking us. But at some point, y'all, we got to have our protest vote too, to let the Democratic Party know that we've been with them since day one. But yet our qualified sisters are steady getting fucked in the process. So from here on out, my protest vote is against James Talarico. That's my protest vote. And I advise anybody in Texas who see this video that's black, don't get out and vote for this dude. We got to send a message to these people. I saw one white lady say that hurt in my soul, that said she loved Jasmine Crockett and she think Jasmine Crockett is the real deal. She was fucking crying. But then said, I voted for Talarico because he could win. I'm tired of these shenanigans. I'm tired of these fucking racists. Now it's our fucking time, y'all. It's our time to send a protest vote to these motherfuckers to let them know they need us more than we need them. So from here on out, this is a James Talarico protest vote on my behalf. And I'm going to keep pushing that shit all the way to election. These people gonna fucking understand us. We gonna make them fucking understand us. And if you're a Democrat and you don't like what I'm saying, fuck you. At some point in time, y'all, we got to put our foot down and be like, fuck this. We can't keep letting this happen to our educated black women. We can't keep letting this happen to our educated black women. A lot of people might not agree with me. I'm cool. But I don't need everybody to agree with me. I just need enough people to protest like the lefties did Kamala Harris in election and cause her election. I just need enough to say, you know what, you right. Fuck James Talarico. And we're gonna make sure he don't win, y'all. This is the time we send our message, y'all. Since they putting all their eggs in their basket in this dude, we got to show them they need us before we need them. So share this, y'all, to a lot of people, because we need to let the people know that this is our time for our protest vote. And I'm sick of being played by these people. And for you Latinos, I'm going to tell you this once. I ain't going to say it again. If y'all get any credible candidate that y'all think could win, we gonna vote against their ass the same way y'all been voting against us. So if you live in Texas and you follow me, do not vote in the midterms election for James Talarico. This is our stand. This is our protest vote. And this is how it's gonna be. I know a lot of
Well, he said a lot. He said a lot. Wow, he's right, Renee. He said a lot. And that's why I want to show these clips. And I want to show them early as y'all know how I do. And I'm going to, this is why we can't get anywhere. Yeah, I those of you who have been with me for a while, you know what we do. I mean, there's a lot of political, analytical, political commentary shows out there, but that's not what this platform is about. This platform is just what we're seeing here: is to put the truth out there, to inform people, and look at it, as we say, through the lens of leadership, not partisanship and not politics. Because at some point, y'all, we have to begin to understand and hear people and really hear what they're saying. And I said that last year when it came to Talarico and Congresswoman Crockett, what it would take to be successful in Texas, as geographically diverse as it is. Okay. Like I said, these are not in any particular order. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about these. And I want y'all to take note, because if you take note of what they are saying, you will hear a familiar refrain from all of them, whether they're going to go from the gamut to young to older. So let's take a look at, let's take a look at this one.
Like we are today. I'm talking about somebody like me. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm mixed. I'm a rainbow generation, daughter of hippies from LA. I'm talking so many Black folks on the same page. Let me just tell you, I'm a Gen Xer. I've been around a long time, and I have never seen Black people in America on the same page like we are today. I'm talking about somebody like me. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm mixed. I'm a rainbow generation, daughter of hippies from LA. I'm talking about Southern Black folks. I'm talking about church ladies. I'm talking about all of us. And since Jasmine Crockett, y'all fucked up big time. And I don't think you understand how much you fucked up. You fucked up big time, because we are done. We are officially done. We were done after the presidential election, but now we are done. Done. And I don't think you understand what we've been doing. I think you think you've been doing a lot, and you don't know how much we have been doing on your behalf. We've been educating you. You've been getting out the vote. People like Stacey Abrams have been saving the Democratic Party multiple times. There's a whole bunch of folks nobody's ever heard of that do the back-breaking work. And we are done. We're done. So I don't know what's going to happen in Texas, but I can tell you there's a lot of Black people. They don't give a fuck anymore. They don't care. And there's a lot of people outside of Texas like me who've seen what y'all have been doing. And we are not interested. We are not interested in doing the labor and the education and the electoral work. We're done. And you know what? We're going to be okay, because we are resilient, especially those of us who are descendants of enslaved people. If our ancestors made it across the Middle Passage, if we made it through enslavement, if we made it through Jim Crow, made it through lynching time, we know how to survive. We know how to get educated when education is illegal. We know how to grow our own victory gardens. We know how to survive. And y'all, I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you're ready for this, but we're done. Some of us are leaving the United States. We're taking our intellectual capital, our creativity, our culture. We are what makes the United States cool, boo. And you don't understand. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And these next election cycles that are happening, Talarico, I don't know if you know what's going on. If you were expecting Black folks to vote for you, I don't know. I don't know if you can expect that anymore. And as far as the Democratic Party goes, we're tired. We're tired of these folks, wearing the Kente cloth and doing their little kneeling thing that they did, I don't know, in 2020, and then not showing up for us. You know what really, really blows my mind? If y'all were actually thinking about yourselves, really, and you were smart, you would realize that if you cared about the fact that we are being denied a right to vote, and maybe the fact that people have to wait 5 and 6 hours in line in Texas, when white folks don't have to wait that long, that actually might be costing you some votes. But because you don't care about Black folks, you're actually hurting yourselves. But you know what? We know it, and we're done, and we're tired, and we're tired of doing your work for you, and we're tired of taking the blame for you, and we're done. And so we'll see what happens. I don't think you understand what's coming, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think you're ready.
She represented a different, as you could see, she represented a different generation. Although she was saying not the same thing, the same way. And we'll come back and talk about these different things as we take notes of what these people are actually saying. And yeah. It's what, 8 months, 7 months to the election, to midterm. And as I saw this storm brewing, I wanted to do a different show tonight. But as I saw this more and more, and it kept popping up more and more in my feed, I said, you know what? I better sound the alarm early so we can get this out here, so we can get it out on the table. So the Democrats, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent, so the Democrats can deal with it or do with it as they please. But it would be foolhardy to not hear what these people are saying, who are representative of the population. Black voters are smart voters. We're going to vote, but who we vote for is another thing. True. Yeah. So let's take a look at another one. I hope y'all are enjoying these. Kind of disturbing to me as a you know, in a number of ways. But anyway, let's take a look at let's take a look at another one. Let's see. I think we saw him. Let's see. These are in no particular order. Let's take a look at him, see what he has to say.
That their voice matters and they'll get out to vote for James Talarico because he did a great job. He won Austin. Video saying that James Talarico will not win Texas unless he has the Black vote. Yes, he has the white vote. Yes, he has the Latino vote. He has regular Democrats like me voting for him. But if he doesn't get Black folk out, forget about it. He can't beat John Cornyn or Ken Paxton without the Black vote. And there are a lot of Black folk who said, I'm not going to vote for him, not because Jasmine Crockett didn't win. We're not that petty. It's how she lost. The disenfranchisement of her own city, Dallas County to be exact. There were voters, Black voters, turned away from polling stations. This is usually a county-wide state. They changed the rules on us. And instead of giving space for these voters to heal, to get over that trauma, you guys go nut up. Deal with it. She wasn't going to win anyways. It's not about whether or not she won or not. If this was a fair contest and she lost by 10,000 or so votes, fine. Those voters would feel encouraged that their voice matters and they'll get out to vote for James Talarico because he did a great job. He won Austin. He won San Antonio. He was always going to win the border cities, El Paso, because he's from a Mexican descent. No one is saying James Talarico is a bad candidate. What you need to do is hear the pain from Black voters. This is why people don't vote in Texas. This is why I get upset when I see comments or I see videos of people going, you're only mad that your candidate didn't win. No, it's not about that. It's not about the fact that Jasmine didn't win. It is about the fact that she was mistreated. It is about the fact that you lied on her, that you slandered her. And it was about the fact that she wasn't afforded a fair contest. That's a big difference from my candidate didn't win. We all want to get Democrats in power. But when you tell us our vote doesn't matter, when you do things to disenfranchise us, what am I supposed to do about that? How are we supposed to help when our votes get disenfranchised? Every vote needs to be counted. Everybody should be saying that. Everybody, even leftists, should be coming on here saying what happened in Dallas County was BS. That should not be happening. Nobody's voice should be silenced. Not even black voters. Hold space for them. Let them heal. Because when you tell them to shut up, nut up, and vote anyways, you're just disenfranchising them even more. So how's about we hold space for them today? Otherwise, James Talarico is not going to win Texas. That's all I got to say. I will vote for James Talarico because I want Texas to go blue. And I want this country to be saved from Republicans. But I'm not going to be your savior. I'm not going to be the one to force black folk to get out. The person that needs to win them over is James Talarico. So let's hope he can. Give me your thoughts down below.
Okay. I kind of addressed that issue in my Substack and on Facebook, because that still really is, y'all, a really, really, really big issue. The deal that happened in Dallas County, where a lot of people still don't understand what happened, why it happened, why people were forced to not to get out of line, people who were in line to vote, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It was just a comedy of errors that was not funny, that could have been prevented. But now, since that's out there, the perception is, and perception becomes reality after a while, that voters were disenfranchised and voters were cheated out of their votes. And some have said, are upset with the state Democrat Party, and really upset with James Talarico, because they said that James Talarico didn't even mention it, didn't say a thing about the Dallas voters who were left online and then had to get out of line when Paxton filed what he filed. Let's take a look at another one, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna have conversations about these, because as I said, as I looked over the net and as these came up, it's a common refrain. And let's take a look at another one.
To people who just don't want to vote for Talarico because they're mad. No, that is not the bigger problem. That is not a bigger problem than voter suppression across the South, especially in Texas. You're going to lose a lot more people to voter suppression than you're going to lose to people who just don't want to vote for Talarico because they're mad that Crockett lost. It's not a huge number. But in both cases, the people who don't care about what happened in Dallas, and the problem, the foundational problem, is you taking for granted the black vote. Black voters, especially black women, are the base of the party. They are the most consistent, the most loyal, and have been for decades. There is nothing wrong with people who backed Jasmine Crockett, who are overwhelmingly black, asking Talarico to make his case for their vote. He needs to earn their vote. And the only reason people are objecting to that idea is because they've never really had to earn the black vote before. They'll come home. They always come home. Maybe you're going to have to work for it this time. No, that is not the bigger problem. That is
okay. One of the things that she said, she also mentioned the black women being the backbone of the Democrat Party, and that the Democrat Party just expects black voters and black women to just continue to vote that way. Let's look at another one. I think this may be the last one. Let's see.
Fuck Talarico, okay? At this point, I have been trying to figure out how I could be a neutral person, how I could support the Democratic Party and still keep my morals. I can't. Jasmine Crockett, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I love you down. I have so much love for you and so much support with you, but as a Mo City girl, I cannot do it. as James Talarico has been pushed up as this good white Christian man that took money from AIPAC, that is supported by a Republican who supports Wigs Are Us in office. That's his biggest donor. As a man that sit there and watch the shit happen as these votes were coming in, watch Black people in Dallas County be disenfranchised and said, hey, I want to stop this shit. Let's let all the votes come in. And he didn't do that shit. He did not. He watched it happen and he did not. As a white man who called a Black man mediocre and thought it was okay, fuck you. Okay, I cannot do that. Okay, we are doing the same shit over and over and over again, expecting different results. You put a white Christian man in office. We're fighting a Christian war right now in Iran for the sake of fucking Israel. This man took money from AIPAC. Okay, we're setting up this country to be in a war for a fucking country that don't have nothing to do with this, for a fucking country we support. You got me fucked up in Latinos? That Black woman went to bat for y'all. She was on Telemundo for y'all. She was getting people out of ICE detention centers for y'all. And I don't want y'all to say shit about it being everybody else. No, it was Latinos in fucking Texas, which is heavily populated with Mexicans. Y'all cannot blame nobody else but y'all this time. And at this point, I can't back him. I can't give him shit, because only time the Democratic Party is united is under anti-Blackness and racism. Y'all love a pit bull when she's barking for y'all behind the fucking fence. But as soon as she tries to cross that hoe, it is a fucking problem. And that is a problem for me. So for Black people in Texas, stay sitting, have a rest, take a break. Let's see what they can fucking do without us. And good luck on getting that governor in. Because without us, she won't fucking make it. Y'all could have had Black and brown unity for real, but y'all chose to choose that close proximity to whiteness, which y'all are not, and y'all failed. Fuck Talarico, okay? At this point, I have been trying to figure out how I could be a neutral person, how I could support the Democratic Party and still keep my morals. I can't. Jasmine Crockett, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I love you down. I have so much love for you and so much support with you, but as a Mo City girl, I cannot do it. As James Talarico has been pushed up as this good white Christian man that took money from AIPAC, that is supported by a Republican who supports Wigs Are Us in office. That's his biggest donor. As a man that sit there and watch the shit happen as these votes were coming in, watch Black people in Dallas County be disenfranchised and said, hey, I want to stop this shit. Let's let all the votes come in. And he didn't do that shit. He did not. He watched it happen and he did not. As a white man who called a Black man mediocre and thought it was okay, fuck you. Okay, I cannot do that. Okay, we are doing the same shit over and over and over again, expecting different results. You put a white Christian man in office. We're fighting a Christian war right now in Iran for the sake of fucking Israel. This man took money from AIPAC. Okay, we're setting up this country to be in a war for a fucking country that don't have nothing to do with this, for a fucking country we support. You got me fucked up in Latinos? That Black woman went to bat for y'all. She was on Telemundo for y'all. She was getting people out of ICE detention centers for y'all. And I don't want y'all to say shit about it being everybody else. No, it was Latinos in fucking Texas, which is heavily populated with Mexicans. Y'all cannot blame nobody else but y'all this time. And at this point, I can't back him. I can't give him shit, because only time the Democratic Party is united is under anti-Blackness and racism. Y'all love a pit bull when she's barking for y'all behind the fucking fence. But as soon as she tries to cross that hoe, it is a fucking problem. And that is a problem for me. So for Black people in Texas, stay sitting, have a rest, take a break. Let's see what they can fucking do without us. And good luck on getting that governor in. Because without us, she won't fucking make it. Y'all could have had Black and brown unity for real, but y'all chose to choose that close proximity to whiteness, which y'all are not, and y'all failed.
Whew. Okay, I wanted to play hers twice, because if you listen to what she she kind of wrapped it up of what everybody else had said. She talked about the white Christian man. She talked about him taking AIPAC money. She talked about the disenfranchisement of Dallas County voters, and y'all heard that is a recurring theme throughout the anger and the angst and the rejection of this Democratic Party in Texas. And she was the first one to mention the Colin Allred incident, the disrespect for him. That's kind of a side issue, but these other major issues. And she mentioned Latinos, and I, a few other of the clips mentioned that too, because that is a real issue. And I'm just gonna put it out there on tape and say it with like what God loves. That's true. That's a real issue between Black voters, the Democratic Party, and Latinos. And what she said was, when she was talking about that governor that y'all talking about, I had to listen to it twice because I thought she was talking about Greg Abbott, and then it dawned on me she's talking about Gina Hinojosa. So Gina Hinojosa and Talarico, they are gonna have a lot of pushback. And then she said that only time the Democrats get involved or get anxious is when it is for them and what Black voters can do for them. And then it's back to the anti-Blackness and racism. Now, there are a number of other clips that I have that I didn't play because after a while they become redundant. And the reason why they become redundant is that these people are saying the same thing. So in leadership, it's one thing when one group or one person is saying something, you go, okay, they may just have an issue. But then when you listen to others and you hear a common theme, then as leaders, Houston, we got a problem. And the Democratic Party in Texas has a problem. And I am going to shut up and I am going to I'm gonna look at some of y'all's comments. See. I did a search. I don't know another way. I don't think. If I go to the Dallas hospital, how many births are white, how many are Black, and how many are Hispanic? That used to be an issue in Dallas County at Parkland. I assume that you're talking about Parkland. That used to be an issue at Parkland that more Latino babies were born in Parkland than any other ethnic group, but I don't know what that has to do with that. Thanks for keeping us. Yeah. So y'all, that we don't have to be here all night to talk about this, but I just want the party to hear what people are saying. Now, is there any scientific evidence to back it up? No, but people don't vote on scientific evidence. People vote on emotions. People vote on how a candidate makes them feel. They vote on how they feel as being part of the larger group, i.e. the Democratic Party, and they vote on their particular issue. That's the three main things. Because as I've said before, I've said it over and over and over when we got to the primary, before we got to the primary. People want to know principally three things. What are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for my family? And what are you going to do for my community? And what you hear in this refrain, they weren't saying it that way, but that's exactly what they were saying. Because they were saying, as for me, you heard the different ones, the women, the men, the Christian thing. The young guy was saying, since so many young Black voters are turning away from the church, that Christianity part of Talarico is just not going to fly with them. The Hispanic thing. Now, let me say this about the Hispanic vote and the women vote and the Black vote. Just kind of a historical fact. It's just it's just a fact. If John Cornyn wins, what do you think? What do you think you get? You go, John Cornyn. First of all, John Cornyn not gonna win. Look, I've been saying that from the beginning, and I would be willing to eat my words if John Cornyn wins. Now, John Cornyn he's raising a lot of money, and John Cornyn has the establishment Republicans behind him. He has, like, the endorsement of Rick Perry. He has the endorsement of Robert Jeffries. He has the endorsement of the establishment, what's left of the Republican establishment. But that's not what rules Texas anymore. MAGA Texas rules Republican Texas now. And MAGA Texans are solidly in Paxton's camp. And so I don't think James Talarico's opponent is going to be John Cornyn. I have said it from the beginning, and I would have been shocked if Paxton had dropped out. And that is why Donald Trump didn't follow through on endorsing either one of those candidates, because he was caught between a rock and a hard place. You have to understand the Christians, the white Christians, the white evangelical Christian sect over here. And I'm putting on the left. They're not on the left. I'm just kind of separating. Okay. On one hand is the white evangelicals and the established Republicans. Now, the white evangelicals, it was surprising to a number of people when Robert Jeffries came out and endorsed John Cornyn. But it wasn't surprising if you look at how trashy Paxton is. I mean, Robert Jeffries could privately support Paxton, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But being the pastor of First Baptist Church, he could not come out and endorse an adulterer whose wife is divorcing him on biblical grounds, which Christians know that means he's sleeping around. Okay, so on one hand is that. Now we know that the people who have put Donald Trump in office, the people who support Donald Trump, those are the white evangelicals. But then on the other hand are the MAGA Texans, and those are Ken Paxton's people. So it would have had to be a grand deal made for Paxton to drop out so that Trump would endorse Cornyn, because that was what it was going to take. And I said at the time, the only way Paxton would drop out is if Paxton said he would drop out if the SAVE bill, if the SAVE Act had passed. Well, we know that wasn't going to pass, but if it had, he would have dropped out. And I said at the time, Trump would have given him Attorney General hands down. But since that didn't happen, and there was nothing in it for Paxton, and Trump could not endorse Cornyn over MAGA, and he could not endorse Paxton and MAGA over Robert Jeffries and the evangelicals. So what did he do? He did what Trump does. He didn't do anything, because Trump is about Trump, and he didn't want to damage Trump. It wasn't about Cornyn or Paxton. He didn't want to damage himself with the evangelicals over here. He didn't want to damage himself over here with the MAGA Texans. And the MAGA Texans are the ones that's going to rule the day. Paxton is going to be their nominee. Now, John Cornyn, I have said before, John Cornyn is an old time, back in my day as a Republican. The John Cornyn today, and I've said this and I will continue to say it, I think Jasmine Crockett said the same thing. The John Cornyn that is putting himself out there like that today, the bootlicker and all that kind of stuff, and kissing Trump's ring and all that, that is the furthest away from the John Cornyn when he first ran for judge. He's from Houston. He was Judge Cornyn, just a fine justice. And then he ran for the Texas Supreme Court and he won. And then he was, of all things, the Attorney General for Texas, what Paxton is now. And then he got elected to the Senate. The John Cornyn that got elected at first is the same John Cornyn that came in with the class of Rick Perry and those people. And those are the people who are supporting John Cornyn and who have endorsed John Cornyn and who don't want to be embarrassed by Paxton and all of his baggage, right? But Cornyn, and I've said it before, Cornyn voted for a gun control bill. It was an innocuous bill. It actually did not do a thing. It really didn't move the needle any as far as gun control goes. And this was during the Biden administration. So when Cornyn took that vote 3 years ago now, almost, MAGA swore that they would get back at John Cornyn. And MAGA don't forget. They have long memories, and they are mean, really mean. So when they said, when John Cornyn took that vote, and they told John Cornyn they were going to get him, they were going to get back at him, they meant that. So it's no way in the world they're going to vote for John Cornyn. No way in the world they're going to vote for him. It doesn't matter that Rick Perry has endorsed him. It doesn't matter that Robert Jeffries has endorsed him. It doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. So what the Democrats have to do, really, is listen to these people, people like them, because it's going to be very important that I think the black vote is what, 13%? And if 5% of the black vote stays home, Talarico is not going to win. The Democrats are not going to win. That's just mad. That's just mad. He's not going to win. There's no way in the world he can win. I'm hoping Jasmine will run for Ted's seat. I would hope that, you know what I heard? I would hope that James would endorse her. I believe he would, as she has endorsed him. Two fine young people. You know, I've even heard that she may run for Dallas mayor. I heard that. And, you know, her options are so broad that 2028, if it's Gavin Newsom or whomever the Democrats put up for president, I can see Jasmine Crockett as Attorney General. I can see Jasmine Crockett as an ambassador in an administration. We need Jasmine in 28. She will prosecute the Trump family, the Inheritance Foundation. I can see her doing that. As Attorney General, I can see her doing that. I can absolutely see her doing that. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to get it out there early, and I wanted to get it out there so that the Democrats, the Democrat Party, can see that it's a really big issue. And if you look at across TikTok or X or even on Facebook, it's the same refrain. Now, I don't know how. I don't know. You know. Okay, go ahead. There's two separate issues we're talking about. There's two separate issues. Actually, there's three separate issues. There's three separate issues. One is the issues with the Latinos. As you heard throughout those clips, there is real angst and anger against Latinos. And the second thing is the disenfranchisement or the perceived disenfranchisement of Dallas County voters. Now, some of the people are saying that James Talarico should have said something, that he didn't say a thing when people were in their minds, and I'm going to say this, in their mind disenfranchised. And if it's in their mind, it's real for them, right? But really wasn't. Polls have always closed at 7 p.m. It didn't matter if the line was on. And I'm not going to go through this again because I have it on my Substack. And polls always close at 7. And it was the Dallas County voters were done a disservice by a number of people who did not prepare them adequately for Election Day. And I don't think that some did not prepare themselves for Election Day because they were so accustomed to voting anywhere on Election Day. And that was not the case. And so people who don't understand that, and people looking at that from the outside looking in, it looks so harsh. And it looks like disenfranchisement, but really it was not disenfranchisement. It really wasn't. It was ill preparedness and lack of personal responsibility and lack of what's the word? I think that the leaders of the Democratic Party in Dallas County could have done a lot better, and certainly Dallas County taxpayers paying that $1 million for an ad campaign to inform the voters. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody said anything about it. Well, I mentioned in my Substack. I mean, $1 million is a lot of money, taxpayer money, for voter education to say, hey, vote, you know, you're gonna, you know, maybe y'all saw something. I saw one flyer, but it remains to be seen how that went. Who got that $1 million, and what were the deliverables to Dallas County for that $1 million? Because evidently it didn't do a whole lot of good, because you had people standing in line who had not. And so when you had people standing in line like that, it was very hurtful, and it was very people were angry. So they had to have somewhere to direct that anger. They had to have somebody to blame for that hurt. And the refrain throughout is James Talarico. Although he had nothing to do with it, the rub is he should have said something. He should have been more he should have showed more empathy to the people of Dallas County. He should have said something, and he didn't say anything. And so, since it was Congresswoman Crockett's home county, it impacted her voters more than anybody. Although the Republicans were slick. Y'all do remember that they did this in Williamson County, which is Talarico's home county. Granted, it is not as big and is not as diverse as Dallas County, but the same was done in Williamson County. But we didn't hear any reports of what happened in Dallas County that happened in Talarico's county, home county of Williamson County, although those were the two counties that the Republicans pulled this stunt on. And there you have it. Back to the Latinos. Back to what I was saying. The Latinos, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it. I hope I can say it in a way that makes sense, and I hope I can say it in a way that's delicate, okay? Every civil right, whether it's civil rights for gays, for transgenders, for Latinos, for white women, every civil right is on the back of Black people and the civil rights movement, with the exception of the vote for white women, which was with back in the 40s or something like that. Katie Stanton. When women got the right to vote, but not Black women, white women. Black women didn't get a right to vote until the 1960s. But every civil right, because Black people had to. Black people were the first ones out there. And keep in mind, the Latino vote, the Latino population is still a very young population. And I say that to say, it's not the luck of the draw, but it's history. It's historical. Those who come first open the door, sometimes have to kick down the door. Sometimes the door gets slammed back in our face. But somebody has to be the first to open the door. I was the first Black elected to city council here in Duncanville. I guarantee you people who came after me did not have to go through what I went through to get elected as the first Black in the city of Duncanville. I know they didn't, but it made it easier for them. And it has made it easier for Latinos because Black people were the ones to kick the door down, to kick the door open. And there is now a lot of friction there. And you heard that. You heard it through different speakers. These Latinos, that they want us to support them, they have to support us. And that's just the way it is. Black people took the brunt of it, and Latinos benefited from it. That's how it is, and it's a younger population. And I get it. It's you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. And another thing, let me get some of y'all's comments. Another thing while I'm on this topic, and it's a very, it's a very delicate topic, and I hope that I say it the thing in 1920. I hope I say it the same way that I hope I say it the way. I don't understand the purpose of what happened in Dallas County on election day. Oh man, if you're on my, I have a Substack. I just did my Substack today. It's called Dorothy Burton TX, just like here on YouTube, and it's also Facebook. My Facebook page is public, so I also have it on Facebook too. It's a long thing. I mean, so I won't go through it here. But it wasn't a comedy of errors, but there were things that happened along the way that led up to election day, that led up to people being left standing online or in line. My friends up north, they say online. I go, what is that? We say in line in Texas, but yeah, it's on my Facebook page, and it's also on my Substack. But to make a long story short, it was just a series of errors that should not have been. I'll put it that way. And I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at anybody. It was just a series of errors that shouldn't have been, and the voters ended up paying the price for that. So y'all, that's the angst that's out there. The Democratic Party has a long way to go. When does identity voting become a detriment to the community? You know what? Yeah, you know what? I don't think as more and more people fight for their rights to exist or to be recognized, I don't think it will. As a matter of fact, that was one of the reasons. I think that was one of the reasons that I was not attracted to the Democratic Party, because there were so many boxes to check. And even now, if you listen to those different clips, there are several boxes that you have to check in the Democratic Party. Some call it identity politics, some call it checking the boxes, but there's just a number of boxes that you have to check. And I don't think that's going to change. In answer to your question, I don't think that's going to change. I don't think it's going to change. But at the same time, when you listen to these people, even some of them, if you listen to the younger ones, because I wanted to be sure and include the young ones, because y'all, they call it what? They call it deconstructing from, what do they call it? Deconstructing from religion, or deconstructing from the church. That's a very real issue with especially younger African Americans who count themselves more spiritual than an organized religion. And so you heard that young man saying, so they have this white Christian guy, and that's a rub to quite a few people too, because more than one person said that. So that's another box. So it would just be, I can't tell the Democratic Party no more than I can tell the Republican Party what to do. All I can do is just say, hey, Houston, we got a problem. Democrats, y'all got a problem. And it's April now, and November is coming. And I'm just not talking about in Dallas County. I am talking about across the state, because those people are not just in Dallas County. Those people are from across the state, and some even out of state. The Republican Party is a white party. They don't have to do much. Yeah, but the Republicans do identify politics all the time. You know what though? Now there is such a fracture within the Republican Party between these white evangelicals and now the white evangelicals, the MAGA white Christian nationalists. And now, y'all see where this what do you call it? What do you call it when there's this pushback now against Israel, anti-Semitic? So now this anti-Semitic, that's why that guy, that's why he resigned. Because there is now within the Republican Party 3 factions. There's the MAGA, there's the white evangelical / white Christian nationalist, and now this anti-Semitic that is burgeoning up. And I need to include with the evangelicals, the white evangelicals, we need to include not only the white Christian nationalists but Christian Zionists. So to say that the Republican Party is a white party, it is a white party, but it's different factions of white. It's different factions of white. It's the white Christian nationalists. It's the white Christian Zionists. It's the white evangelicals. And now it's the white anti-Semitics. And they are all in the Republican Party. And they may not call them identity politics, but they are factions. Okay, the Democrat Party, let's be fair, identity politics. But the Republican Party, same thing, it's just factions. Just factions. But the difference between the identity politics with the Democrats and the factions with the Republicans, the identity politics of the Democratic Party are not dangerous. They're not dangerous at all. Not dangerous. There is no danger in transgender. There's no danger in gays. There's no danger in Black. No danger in women. No danger in whites. But when you get on the Republican side, the factions, every last one of them are dangerous. The white Christian nationalists, the Christian Zionists, the white anti-Semitics, and the white evangelicals. Dangerous. All 4 of them. So we have a mix here in America that we've had it, we've always had it, but these people who are on the right, the Christian Zionists, the anti-Semitics, the white evangelicals, they've always been on the fringe. But now not only are they not on the fringe, and in mainstream, they are at the height of power. They are the people who are at the controls. And that's what make it so dangerous. The Democrats have always had identity politics. Go back to Bill Clinton, even further than that. Always identity politics. But identity politics isn't dangerous. Factional politics is very dangerous. And so that's what we're seeing, and that's the difference that we're seeing on the right and on the left. And that's what Cornyn is running into. Cornyn is running into those factions on the right, and they don't favor him. They hate him. Why? Because Cornyn is not a Christian nationalist, although he is trying to be that now, to bootlick for Donald Trump. John Cornyn was never known to be anti-Semitic. John Cornyn was never known to be a Christian Zionist. He was never known to be any of those things. But now he's having to adapt to be those things, which separates him from Ken Paxton, because Ken Paxton really are those things. And that's why Ken Paxton is going to win. Because those factions is what make up MAGA in Texas. And so that's why Paxton is going to win. Period. I mean, if you just understand how it works, and then you extrapolate that out to November and to the election of the likelihood, not even November, of May, of the likelihood. And then keep in mind, Wesley Hunt got 13% of the vote. Wesley Hunt is Black MAGA. So where do you think that 13% of Wesley Hunt's vote is going to go? It's going to go to Paxton. It's not going to go to Cornyn. It's going to go to Paxton. Let's see. The historical event you're referring to is most commonly associated with 3 civil rights workers who were murdered. The 3 white guys, right? I can't remember the name. Turner. Y'all gonna have to help me with that. Let's see. It took all of us, and Angela, Yeah. So y'all, that's where we are. That Paxton is corrupt. Oh God, Paxton sure is corrupt. Paxton is beyond corrupt. If y'all, I don't know if you watched it, but I watched every day of his trial. You know, the whistleblower trial, and all the tawdry evidence came out with the women and paying off the real estate guy, and oh, it was just tawdry. He is just, oh my God. But he's going to win. He's going to win come May. He's corrupt as he want to be. You are so right, but he's going to win. So Talarico needs to earn the black vote. What do you think of some of the steps that he could take? Well, those people said, what those people say? Now I'm just gonna paraphrase. I'm gonna paraphrase what I believe I heard them say. He's gonna have to show up in black communities. Now, you can't let me and I said this during the primary, and it kind of made some people mad, but in the primary, the primary is about competition, and you go after your primary voter. That's the primaries. That's why it's called the primary, because you go after your primary voter. You go after your primary voter in the primaries. That's the competition. So Talarico went after his primary voter. And I think I called it last time the avatar, because in marketing they call it, and when you're putting together like your workshop, like a workshop, or you're putting together a cohort like I do and all that, you the first thing you do is you create your avatar. Who is your ideal customer? Who is your ideal client? Or who is your ideal who is it that you're talking to? Your avatar. And so that's what Talarico did. You can't blame him for that, because that's what every politician does. They look in the primary at their primary voter. And his primary voter in the primary were white, Hispanic, mostly rural, the Rio Grande, the West Texas, and Jasmine Crockett, as we talked about, her primary voters in the primary were black women. That's why you heard a lot of black women with such angst. Urban voters, urban progressive voters, black voters. Those were her primary voters. Talarico had more primary voters than she had primary voters, and he won. That's just the way it was. That's just how it works. So what he's going to have to do is find a way, to make a long story short and not to go into all these details and numbers, he's going to have to find a way to garner enough of Jasmine Crockett's primary voters in the general election in order to win. That's what he's going to have to do. How he goes about doing that is going to be step by step by step by step. And it's going to have to be more than just showing up at a black church on Sunday morning. He's going to have to really immerse himself in the black community. Why? Because he has no connection to the black community that I can see. And that's not a knock against him. That's just happened to be where he was raised. Because if you were raised, I don't care if you're even black. If you're black and you were raised in the area where he was raised in, Round Rock, in that area, Williamson County, in that area, it's not a lot of black people there. So that wasn't his natural constituency. His natural constituency are the white, suburban, well-educated, because, in Round Rock, that's right outside of Austin, which, the University of Texas, a lot of professional people, a lot of educated people who work in Austin, but they live outside of Austin and Round Rock. And so that was his base. So what he's going to have to find to do is to permeate Jasmine Crockett's primary voters. And he's going to need a lot of help. As y'all heard those people, he's going to need a lot of help doing it, because it's not natural to him. It's not natural to him. He's a Ted Cruz. His replacement, I believe, it should be Jasmine Crockett. Mm-hmm. Jasmine's not going anywhere. Jasmine is not going anywhere. I would be barking up Talarico's butt if he does not do the right thing and get Jasmine elected to Ted's seat. Yeah, Ted Cruz needs to go. And Jasmine would be perfect. Jasmine's not going anywhere. She's too sharp. and she's too popular. You heard those people, every last one of those people. It was like, okay, do better by her. You could have done better by her. Yeah. Let's see. I think Talarico needs to speak to Black issues and make us believe it. Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yeah, he does. He has a lot of work to do. Because as I said, that's not his natural constituency. It's not. It's just not. So, yeah, he's going to need help. He's going to need help. He really is. Because his natural constituency isn't that. It's not that. But he's going to need that constituency to win. Because there's no way in the world he can win without the Black vote. And there's no way in the world, if he loses even 5 to 7% of the Black vote, he's going to win. He will not win. And he can't afford to lose even that. And I know 8 months seem like a long time, but it's not. Because when you count in the summer, people are on vacation, people are not paying attention. People come back in the fall, August, September, people getting ready to go to school, back to school. And by then, it's October. And the race is in November. And those of you, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done, those of you who have been with me for a while, you guys understand what's going on now in this process, because what's going on now in the process is the cleansing of our voter rolls. Remember? The states that handed over the voter rolls to the Department of Justice, and they're having these, the Department of Justice gets them, they cleanse them, they purge them, then they send them back to the state, they send them back to us. Abbott gave over our rolls in December. So the DOJ purges, and that's what the DOJ is doing, y'all, and that's what's very quiet, what they're very quietly doing. They're purging rolls as we speak. Because those states, remember, those of you who have been with me, remember how the DOJ sued states that did not willingly give over their voter rolls? And that's the deal they tried to strike with Minnesota, remember? They said, okay, we'll take ICE out of the state if you give us your voter rolls. And they told them, we're not doing that. So they took them to court. Whereas Greg Abbott willingly gave our voter rolls over in December. And I explained that process a few months ago, and I won't go through it again. But I would say that in conjunction with what I'm talking about with this short schedule that Talarico is working on with the summer months, the vacation, and coming back, because those voter rolls have to be back for the last time in the hands of the states by August in order to be in compliance with 30 days and the days that it takes to be ready for the November for the general election. So there are a number of things that the Trump administration is doing to prevent the midterms. And the one that's being really quiet is the purging of these voter rolls that nobody's talking about anymore, because the process has begun, because it is timed. And the voter rolls has to go first to the DOJ to purge. The Department of Justice gives them back to the state to purge. Then the state has to give them back to the Department of Justice for a second time to purge. And then the Department of Justice gives them back to the state for the last time. And that is the final roll after it has been purged by the state twice and the DOJ twice. And the thing about it, if y'all think what happened in Dallas County with people standing online, you ain't seen nothing yet, because people who are purged from these rolls don't even know they've been purged from the rolls. And then on top of that, they tried to do the SAVE Act to purge them even further. It's not a conspiracy, it's a plan. And they are working that plan. And then you throw in the war. Because the goal is to not have midterm elections, with the ultimate goal of not having an election, a presidential election in 2028. So when I say he's on a short calendar, he's on a really, 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 really short calendar between now and November. Yeah. And y'all know we're going to have fun. And we're going to stay involved, and we're going to stay up on all the things that the government is doing. There's a rumor that Reid Hoffman, the billionaire AI guy, Epstein father, donated $3 million. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I had to run that down. I had not heard that. I had not heard that. We have an obligation to vote. Yes, we do. And seeing the underhanded maggot, yes, we do. It's no brainer for me. Yes. Yeah. I've tried, and I am fair, because I am Team Talarico, and the reason why I'm Team Talarico now, where I wasn't Team Talarico before, but I am Team Talarico because I know Paxton, and I know Corning, and I know their plan, and I know how evil these people are, and it would be a travesty. And I hope that the Democratic Party hear these people and don't play these people short, and just hear them. The Democratic Party should be planning. If I were in the Democratic Party, I would be planning these listening meetings. I would be planning these listening conversations throughout the state. I would pinpoint, and you have to do it scientifically. I would pinpoint where it is I need to be, where it is I need to put Talarico in front of people, and not just going to a black church here and there on a Sunday, go to this black church, go to that black church. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. That is not going to work. And I hope the Democratic Party gets it, because if the Democratic Party, if the Dallas Democratic Party had gotten it with the primary, it would have been a much smoother process. I'll put it that way. But y'all, time is of the essence. When we were talking about this last fall, I said then in December, the Republicans have changed voting on primary day. That was back in December. Knowing we had to march to answer somebody's question, the Dallas Democratic Party knew in December 2025 that it was going to be precinct only voting on election day. Dallas County Commissioners Court knew too. That's why they appropriated that $1 million for voter education. $1 million. Time goes by so quickly, and I don't want to say it caught them by surprise, but it caught a lot of people by surprise, and it shouldn't have. And the Republicans and Allen West were just tickled pink because it worked. It not only did it work to not have people being able to vote, but it went a step further. It has caused so much division and anger. You heard that among Democrats. That is the bigger issue. That is the bigger issue. And the Republicans are sitting back laughing. And I have not seen since the primary any post I've not seen any post-educational things. I've not seen that. Well, I'm not a Democrat, so maybe they've had them and I just don't know it. But the citizens need to know what happened. They really do need to know what happened, because you hear these people, and even we had a question here, it wasn't a matter of being disenfranchised. It was a matter of not being prepared. And they had time to be prepared. I'm just going to put it that way. Like I said, I have it on my Facebook and on Substack. Yeah, I got Substack now. I got 2 subscribers. I'm so happy. I said, thank you, Jesus. I got 2 subscribers. I would love to see him and Jasmine campaigning together. Me too. I think they will. Yeah. So, y'all, that's where we are. Oh, good for Don Henry. So, yeah, that's where we are. That's the state of play with the Democrats going into the summer. And like we said last fall, in preparation, y'all, I said it then, and I'm going to say it now. Plan ahead. How many times have y'all heard me sit here and say that? Plan ahead. Plan ahead, plan ahead. Plan ahead for what the DOJ is doing with these voter rolls. Stay on top of that because Greg Abbott is in cahoots with Trump. And as I said, nobody knew that he gave our voting records, so it was no big deal. I think the Texas Tribune did a story on it. He willingly gave over our rolls. And if y'all remember, we talked about it then. We were just starting this podcast, how Abbott took 1 million people, purged 1 million people off the voter roll. So they're playing all kinds of games. And the thing about it is, what concerns me more than anything is that people aren't paying the kind of attention that they need to be paying, it seems. And people are just in the dark. They don't know. Houston has been one of his top consistent contributors. Oh, good. So, y'all, that's it. That's where we are. That's what that's the sampling that I wanted to get out there and at least put it on the table so the Democrats would know and be prepared and not be shocked when people, just don't show up. Don't. And the longer people's anger or the longer people's disappointment or the longer people's angst grows without it being addressed, the worse it's going to be as time goes on. Because, it's just like a sore that festers. And if you don't do anything to heal it, it gets worse. It grows a scab, but it gets worse. And then something happens and it rips the scab off. And it's just not good. So that's what the Democrats are facing. That's where we are. And the emotions are still very raw among a lot of people in the Democratic Party. And Talarico has a lot of work to do along with the Democratic Party. Okay? It's been about an hour and a half. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate you. You know I do. And sign up for our community. We're going to have at the end of the month, every last Tuesday, we're going to have a private, like we're doing now, and it's all public, but we're going to have a private conversation for people who are members of the channel. And I will be sending you a link during the last show of the month. And that last show of the month is always going to be shorter because we're going to gather on the porch for those of us who are members of the channel, and we're going to have a more private chat of what's going on and just get to know one another and what's going on in your world, what's going on here in Texas. And we're just going to connect that way. I appreciate y'all so much. And I will see you, if the Lord says the same, I'll see you next Tuesday. Take care.